Okay, so we can substitute in negative numbers as well. I've just written up here what we did in, I think it was probably the first topic we did this year, the topic called directed numbers. We're going to refer back to this. So maybe if you pause the video and take a minute to read through and see if that's familiar, but I'll explain it by way of an example. So we have m subtract n. So I'm going to write that out, m subtract n. We are told, could we substitute m for 5? So what I'm going to do where I see m is 5, and then I need to subtract n. We're told that n is negative 3, so I'm going to put negative 3. So just going over that again, instead of m, I'm going to put 5, and instead of n, I put negative 3. Okay, now going back to the directed numbers topic the way we explained it at the start of the year. Where do I start? I start at 5. Which way do I move? If I am subtracting a negative, then I move to the right. How far do I move? I move 3 to the right. Here tells me how far I move. So I start at 5 on my number line, and I move, because I'm subtracting a negative, I move to the right, and I move 3 to the right. So where do I end up? I end up at 8. That's going over what we did at the start of the year. Let's look at another example. 2n subtract m. So 2n is 2 times by n subtract m. Okay, in this one, where I see n, I'm going to put negative 1. So it's 2 times negative 1, and then I'm going to subtract m, which is negative 2. Let's work out firstly what 2 times negative 1 is. Well, 2 times 1 is 2. A positive times by a negative is a negative. So I've got negative 2, and I'm going to subtract negative 2. So let's just go up here. So where do I start? On my number line, I start at negative 2. Again, I'm moving to the right because I'm subtracting a negative. And how far am I moving? I'm moving 2 to the right. So thinking of our number line, we're at negative 2, we're moving 2 to the right. So where do I end up? I end up at 0. Last example. 5ab subtract 12 over b. Alright, so we have got 5 times by a times by b, subtract 12 divided by b. Alright, let's substitute in our values for a and b. So we have 5 times by 4, because instead of a, we're going to write 4, times by negative 3, because instead of b, we're going to write negative 3. Subtract 12 over b, and remember b was negative 3. I'm going to do this first because of my BIDMAS. 5 4s are 20. 20 times 3 is 60. A positive times by a positive is a positive. Times that by a negative is a negative. And then I'm subtracting 12 over negative 3. Okay, so I've got negative 60. Then let's work out what this is. So I am subtracting. Well, there is 12 divided by 3. There is 4 3's in 12, and the positive divided by negative is a negative. So, where do I start on my number line? I start at negative 60. I'm subtracting a negative again, so I'm moving to the right. How far am I moving? I'm moving 4 to the right, so I end up at negative. Sorry, I'm not sure why it's not writing in the right spot, at negative 56. I think it always pays, if you're having trouble to remember this here, have one of those number lines next to you that I gave you laminated at the start of the year.